There we go.
Okay, I'm going to call the Monday, July 12th Park and Rec meeting to order at 6:30. So we do have public forum, so I think that's an appropriate time to hear from Joe.
Are you treating me as public or as a member of the commission?
Well, both.
Okay, well, that is a technical issue, but it's important. All right. I want to make sure that everybody on this commission is aware of what the public trust is, what it means and what it happens on that piece of land. If you're not, I'll just essentially give you a highlight of it. The public trust states that the public has free and open access to any land that lies between the high water mark and the low water mark at all times. They're allowed to pursue their interest, either fish, boat, clam, whatever, sunbathe, whatever. But the public has that right at all times. If you look at the situation down there east of the beach, east of Jacobs Beach, a builder, McManus specifically, wanted to put a dock in. And he originally went to planning and zoning to get the permits and all that. And the dock was attached to the wetlands. And it turned out that it was running through a hassle, et cetera, et cetera. And he was told that if he went through DEEP and moved the dock seaward, he could put the dock in, and it was out of the town's hands. It was out of the town's responsibility, which it is. And if you look at the dock, you'll also notice the height of it. That's because you have to allow pedestrian access underneath the dock. This has been existing for, I think it's about 2 years now. It's been up, something like that. Now, matter of fact, now there's a floating dock there also. If you haven't been down there lately, there's a floating dock that's a tie to the fixed dock. Okay. Several signs have appeared. One sign was put up by Park and Rec, I was told, which labeled the wetlands private property, no trespassing, et cetera, which some people thought was originally put up by the owner of, I guess it's 74 Seaside Avenue, but it was actually put up by you guys, I'm told. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And on that dock area, there's a sign that's posted that says no trespassing. To the average person that walks in that public trust area, what would they think if they see these signs? That it's private property, that you can't be down there. You can't go on or you can't walk on the area because it says no trespassing. That is not the case. Numerous court cases went through the state of Connecticut establishing the right of the public there. What the Conservation Commission would like to do is have a sign put up right on the edge of the beginning of the public trust area, explaining what the public trust is and that the public has a right of way on there. That's what they're looking to do. If it's an issue of money where Park and Rec can't afford it, I'm quite sure the Guilford Conservation Commission can afford it. But that's what we'd like to do. I also want you to keep in mind, this property owner has put up a dock. If you continue walking down that area, go all the way down to the end, there's another private property owner that could also put something into the not into the wetlands, but into that area that is owned by 505 Whitfield, that property owner. And the other two properties going along there is owned by the town of Guilford. I did nail Rick on the town green when I think it was a Sunday afternoon or something like that. We had a very brief talk that Park and Rec was interested in perhaps establishing a coastal walkway. Is that right, Rick?
Well, something Matt Hoey had talked about. It hasn't really been by the commission. Well, Matt had mentioned something, and yeah, he and I had a conversation about it.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
If you look at Chapinch Beach, go around Guilford Point, come all the way around to this piece of property, that would be a great coastal walkway. I think the public would enjoy that, really. And they do have a right to be within that space between the high water mark and the low water mark. They have every right to do it. I don't know how many people how many of you guys have traveled overseas or hiked or birds like I have. Many countries. I've hiked in Scotland. I've hiked in England, et cetera, et cetera. All the areas along the sea are open to the public. You have a setback. Some countries, it's actually 200 feet from the high water mark that you're allowed to hike and stuff like that. And I think that's a great idea. And I think it might be a first for Guilford. I don't know whether it's a first in Connecticut, but I think it's a great idea. But the Conservation Commission would like the public to be aware that this land is open to the public. It is state land. There's no responsibility to the town of Guilford if someone gets hurt on it. It's state property. So keep that in mind.
I have a question, Rose, when I can pop in there.
Sure.
Hey, Joe, it's never been explained to us, what is the Conservation Commission, like, why would you guys get involved in that? Obviously, I'm sure there's a reason, but why are you guys involved in this?
We got involved because a citizen that lives down there contacted us. That's why we got involved.
But what does the Conservation Commission do? Like, how is this their concern? That's my question. How is this your concern? Like, so you belong to the Conservation Commission. So why would the Conservation Commission get involved in something like this?
Part of the job of the Conservation Commission is to make areas available to the public. Mostly it's inland. It's in the wooded areas. But we were contacted by Ellen Ebert in regards to this issue.
Okay, can you, because I know nothing about the Conservation Commission. Can you talk about what your, what's the word I'm looking, not agenda, but what's your function?
Our function is to make land available for the citizens for the recreational use for the citizens of Guilford, like Timberland, East River Preserve. The new parcel now is up off of Long Hill Road, the property that's being donated by the park.
Okay, so you oversee all, and I'm not asking, I'm not being, I'm not being rude.
No.
So you oversee town-owned properties like the timberlands and that kind of stuff.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So one last thing.
I'm sorry, finish up.
So the sign on the dock, it says, no trespassing. To me, that's clear. That's people that own the dock are saying, hey, I don't want you on my dock. The other sign that we're talking about here, she's off the top of my head, maybe we, put a sign up there that has the Park and Rec logo on it and says, the end of Jacobs Beach, or just show that that's the end of Jacobs Beach, ends there.
I believe the sign, I'd have to pull it up on my phone. I think the sign says private property, no trespassing or something like that.
No, it says private property beyond this point.
That's what it says. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm suggesting is that there should be a sign there that has the Park and Rec logo on it. So everybody knows that, hey, Park and Rec put the sign there, and something to the effect of, Jacobs Beach property line is right here. Now, as far as people, not knowing that that they have access from the high tide mark down, to me, that's not Park and Rec's concern. I mean, most people know it, or you should know it, but I don't think it's Park and Rec's responsibility to advise people, hey guys, per the state of Connecticut, you have a right from the high tide mark down to low tide. I don't think that should be our, we shouldn't be advising the public that. That's not our job.
Yes, it is.
Joe, the person who called to complain, what exactly was his complaint?
The complaint was that it was confusing to the public when the sign appeared that Park and Rec put up. They were concerned that there was misinterpretation, that when the public sees the sign, that they're not allowed, quote, beyond that point.
Rick, didn't Ellen have not Ellen, Ebert, didn't she have an idea that
Some wording.
I don't have all my papers and stuff with me. I'm sorry, but
I kind of wrote down, Rose, I wrote down, like, one of her emails said, assign something like this: public access below high tide mark, no lifeguards. I don't know if you put that or not, but she said basically public access below high tide mark. Joe, the reason we put that sign up a number of years ago, I don't think it was because the property owner asked us to do it, but there were a lot of people that were going over there, and they, naturally thought it was part of Jacobs Beach, right? And then especially when that dock went up, I think the commission, we were all concerned that if people think it's part of the beach, they go up on that dock and jump off and get hurt or whatever, we may have some liability with that because we didn't inform that that's not town property there. So I think that's the reason the sign, it doesn't say you can't go there. We just want to inform people it's not part of the beach. It's private property. I mean, we can reword that if it's better, or I don't know. I'm just throwing it out and say something like, or like Lawrence said, that town beach ends here or something. But we want to, I think part of our interpretation was we're not saying they can't go there. We just want people to know that that is not part of the town beach anymore.
I think that's simple, Rick, is just to say town beach ends here.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to go into explanation, because usually if people need to know, I mean, I knew that, but if you don't know that, you might look it up to know that. But that we cover ourselves that the town beach ends here.
Or how about where it says town beach ends here, public trust area begins?
Wouldn't it be easier just to make a small map of the area that's being traversed by and put it on both ends, over by Seaside Avenue and over by the beach, and just say, this is the area that you may walk. You may not walk here, you may walk here. It just seems like a simple solution is just to draw a map of where people may go. And yes, we can say the beach ends here, public trust begins here. You have your public trust emblems on the Timberlands, and there's one up the road here from where I live on along Route 80. And I think that's just a simple solution. I'll be very honest with you. The first time I walked there before with my family, I stopped at the dock because it said no trespassing, private property. Okay. I respected that. I turned around with my family and went back to Jacobs Beach and did not continue further towards Seaside Avenue. So if we could just make it perfectly clear, a simple little sign that says you may walk here, you may not walk here, and this is the path that you may take. That just seems like it would be a simple solution.
I think that we may have to get, now plug your ears, this is going to be a 4-letter word. We may have to get DEEP involved, all right? I hate to use that word, but
Why?
And have you ever?
Well, why? Just simply why?
They're hard to work with.
DEEP?
No, why? Not why are they hard to work with? Why do we need to get them involved?
Well, because it is state property.
Okay.
It's not town, it's state property. Keep that in mind.
All right.
And it's the obligation of the state to let its citizens know that it is a public trust area.
Hey, if I can add in, so the property from the high tide mark to low tide, that's state of Connecticut property, right?
That is state of Connecticut. That's correct.
Okay, so it's not for us, we're the town, it's not for us to notify people that from the high tide mark down to the low tide mark. That's not for us to tell anybody. That's the state of Connecticut. We don't own the property. We have nothing to do with
That
it.
is correct.
So we shouldn't put up any sign that says about, public access or anything like that. Again, I get back to harp on it. A simple sign. If you start drawing maps and all this, where you can't walk, where you can, we're gonna have a sign that's 10 feet by 10 feet. A simple sign that says Jacobs Beach ends here, and that's it. To put a sign there, well, public access, that's state of Connecticut. If they want to state of Connecticut wants to put something, that's up to them. That's not
Well,
our.
and they're gonna, and they would have to put that in a lot of places in the state of Connecticut. That's what.
So if you don't know,
That's
if you
not
don't
our
know
problem.
that the high tide mark, that you can walk on the high tide mark down, tough luck. You should know. I mean, that's not for us. That's not to notify. That's not for us to notify everybody in the town of Guilford. That's what the state law is. I mean, that's not our job to notify every resident. what
Yes,
the
it
state-
is. It is our job. We are public servants of what we are responsible for, and we're also to give advice for what they can and cannot use. Just to wash it off to say it belongs to the state is irrelevant. I go hiking all the time up at at the Concaponset state forest. There are no signs there that say this is a state property, that you are under the impression that you know that you are allowed to go hiking here. This is a confusing situation. People need direction. People need some type of support to know that they are not violating private no trespassing area. That's all I'm asking them to do. You can go here, you can't go here. That is just a simple thing to do.
All right, Joe, how far up is the high water line? Does it go up as far as the marsh?
Yep, yep. It's, I believe the state lists as the mean high water mark because it does shift, but it does go up to the marsh. And sometimes it's well up into the marsh, but they make it a defined level.
Okay,
It's the average high line, right?
okay, you know what? It seems to me we're gonna go round and round on this for quite a long time. Would it be helpful if we had maybe a couple of people from our commission, Joe, and a couple of people from your commission, get together, get out there, walk it, look at it, and maybe come up with a compromise solution?
I don't have a problem with that.
What do you think, commission? Is
I
that,
volunteer.
Yeah, I would do it.
I would say I'm happy to do it too. So, but if you two want to do it, go for it.
I think that's a great idea because I think we all need a little bit further information on it to make sure we're all clear who's responsible for what, making sure that our constituents of Guilford are aware of where they can't go safely, and making sure Jacob's Beach lifeguards are covered, that they're not liable for anything. So I think making a small committee would be great.
So Rick,
I'm listening.
Tara and John have volunteered to do this, and can you and Mr. Nugent and a representative get to, arrange this so that you all can meet and get over there, and then we can sort of hash this out logically and,
If I can just pipe in, to me, we're making a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, you're gonna have a commission.
Well, I
people
think, Larry,
together,
that's why I'm suggesting that a small group of people go over there, take a look at it, and then come back with a solution.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm just being point blank here. To me, it's a bad idea.
Okay.
It's not a complicated issue, and we're making it complicated. And the second of all, I mean, Joe, as far as the Conservation Commission, really, you have no jurisdiction here. I mean, it's state property. Jacob's Beach is Park and Rec, so the Conservation Commission really has no jurisdiction about what we're talking about here, because we're talking about private property, we're talking about state of Connecticut property, we're talking about Jacob's Beach property, so I don't know how the Conservation Commission would even be involved in this. I don't think you should be involved in this. You have none of that property there is yours, so why would the Conservation Commission be involved in this? They shouldn't be.
It's town property. Joe, is that what you're saying?
No, it's not town property. The property is
State
the
property.
property of the state.
No, I'm saying the
The town
Conservation,
citizens use that property. They assume that they have access to it.
Right.
And we want to make sure that they know that they have access to it.
yeah, but Joe, the Conservation Commission, you take care of timberlands, right? And timberlands, what else?
They take care of a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm saying is the Conservation Commission has nothing to do with Jacob's Beach. That's my point. So I don't know why we would be meeting with members of the Conservation Commission where they have nothing to do with this. Zero. They have no say in what goes on down there. That's Park and Rec. So we shouldn't be meeting with a committee, the Confirmation Committee, who has no jurisdiction down there. Like I said, it's private property, state of Connecticut, and it's Jacob's Beach, which is Park and Rec. So to me, with the Conservation Commission, that's ridiculous.
Well, they have a care. I mean, they care about what happens. And I think that
Yeah,
warrants
okay.
at least us
That-
listening to them and trying to work with them to,
Rose, what I'm saying is, okay, if that's the case, then you would come as a private citizen, not as a representative of the Conservation Commission.
No, I'm coming as a member of the Conservation Commission.
because the
And what I'm
Conservation
saying is-
Commission cares.
Let the minutes show that.
Yeah. What I'm saying is you have no jurisdiction there. So why should we be talking to the Conservation Commission? Why should they be on it?
Because it's a civil thing to do, because
Yeah.
It's called advising
they have
consent,
access to that property.
right?
And
If
we
we
are,
wanna get that-
Wait, guys, wait. Tara's got
Yeah.
something to say.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna go back to the point that I think we can talk in circles about this, about who's what, but I think Rose is exactly right. We just need to go, and it should be the members who are concerned. Joe has come, a member of the public came to us, or maybe through the Conservation Commission, or however it happened, but I don't think this will be resolved until a small group of us actually see and can make an informed decision. And I think it's perfectly right, as Joe has come with this concern of another citizen, for us all to get down there.
Well, Joe's Joe's representing himself as a part of the Conservation
But I
Commission,
don't-
not representing
But
himself.
somebody
But I-
went to the Conservation Commission. He's doing what the Conservation Commission needs to do.
Yeah. I just.
Is there anyone else who objects to this small committee?
No.
No, I vote to move on with the meeting since we've decided to make a small committee.
Mhm.
We'll hear from them next
agree.
month. But I
Okay,
think we should move on with the rest of our meeting.
all right.
Don't we have to vote on that?
We do. Is there any, all in favor of having a small committee meet Tara and John? And obviously Rick to meet with, Mr. Nugent and a member of his committee? All in favor?
I,
Opposed?
I oppose.
Okay. There is
So,
one opposition.
Joe, if you want to let me know, then when you or who else, right, and I'll get in touch with Tara and John and see what's a good time for everybody.
yeah, I'll send you an email.
Okay,
Just one parting comment. Some of the mariners that keep their boats out of Guilford Harbor also wanted to speak on this issue because they also thought that what happened down there never should have happened, that they now have a floatable device stuck out into the waterway, But all of this should have happened, 2-3 years ago when the state
Right,
approved the situation.
but that we can't do anything about.
it's there.
Well, what they put in, nature will reclaim, trust me.
Oh, I think you're
Good
right.
nor'easter and a couple of hurricanes is gonna take care of that dock.
Yeah, I will. We all know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Joe. All right, so let's move on with correspondence. We have a letter that went to Terry and Patty and Rick and Connor. And I think it's important because I think this really reflects a lot of what everybody at the community said, at least what I've been hearing since I've been going back down there. And it just, I can't begin to tell you how much you mean to us and all that you have done. You will never know until you walk in our shoes what a blessing it was to have angels like you who truly care.
So
Please know how
touching.
much
I'm
you
so-
all have
yeah.
done for us folks. I love you all. And, you can never know. You gave us a reason to keep on going. And I think that's so important. Came from Linda. And I think it's very important for you all to be aware that what's happening down there is very important to a lot of people.
Hey, Rose, can I just pipe in for,
Sure.
we might want to go back, maybe I missed it, but we might want to go back to the vote because nobody made a motion and no one has seconded the motion, right, to have the meeting?
Well, I think we just sort of came to a consensus on that. Do you think it actually,
Well,
you want it to be a formal motion committee?
No, what I'm saying is isn't something happen, if you vote on something, aren't the rules of a meeting that somebody has to make a motion?
Not
somebody has-
always.
And maybe I'm wrong, and then it has to be voted on. I
Okay,
mean, isn't
not
it
al-
proper-
not always, but let's go back. Will somebody make a motion, please?
I will make a motion that we should have a small committee meet on the topic of the access.
I'll second.
Jacob's Beach and
All right. You
Suzanne,
Somebody
yeah.
seconded. Suzanne seconded? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh,
Opposed?
I oppose, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and then we did get another letter from the Hedbergs, and they do want to put the little library at the community center.
Yeah, that's on the agenda, Rose, too,
Oh, all right.
under new business, old business.
Okay. So that's about any other, I'm looking at these very quickly because I didn't bring everything with me. Okay,
There was a letter from a parent about the meeting, the Truth in Education that was held.
I have that here, yes.
And then there were two nice emails thanking Tony and everyone for the soccer fields and the way that they've been kept and comparing them to other across the state. So that was always nice to hear because they do amazing job keeping our fields together.
They do.
And then there was a few correspondence about the sign at Jacobs.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Claire.
Yep.
I didn't bring everything down here with me. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Okay. Can we get an approval of the minutes of the June 7th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the June 7th meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain because I wasn't here.
Abstained because I wasn't here.
And again, I don't have these with me either. We have minutes for the walk. What was the date on that? Somebody help me out.
June 14th.
June 14th. So minutes of the, I guess it was a meeting. We had enough people, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No,
Yeah, all
4.
right. So
Four.
4.
Four.
four, we didn't quite have a quorum, but let's suppose, Rick, you wrote up the minutes, right?
Yes.
So, okay, let's get a motion to approve the minutes. Come on, somebody who was there.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the walk on June 14th.
Second.
Rose, you would have to.
I was there, I'll second him. Nick was there, but he's not here today, so all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Well, I can't have
Abstain.
to abstain, I guess, because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I agree with what the minute said.
I agree with you.
Sounds good. That works. That works. Okay, expenditures, any questions on the expenditures?
Yes, I have a question, please.
Okay,
Rick, I had brought to your attention the lighting over at Bittner Park. The parking lot lights were not working due to a problem with the breaker, and I see that we have a bill for $1,558 for Pasquarello Electric. I had seen that a second time that the lights were not working. Have they corrected the problem?
They did. I believe in both instances, the wires were eaten by mice, but they were on different poles. So they fixed one and it worked. And then there was another one, mice again. And that's what it was. But yes, they were there twice.
So this bill can be approved then because they had completed their work to your satisfaction?
Yeah, I don't, quite frankly, John, I'm not sure if that was for both times or just the one time, because I think it was only one. They came back a second time. That one was June 10th. I don't remember the dates of the other one, but they did have to come back for a separate issue. But yes, I mean, they're working, so we had to get it done.
Okay, well,
Attention.
well, no, I just had suggested that because after the first time they didn't work, I had suggested we withhold payment of the bill until the lights worked. So I'm just asking if the lights are working now, I will recommend approving the bill.
Yeah, my understanding is they work. I haven't been there at night, but I haven't heard they're not working. So, and they tested them. They said they were working after they did their work.
Okay, all right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other questions on the bills? All right, a motion to accept the bills.
Motion to approve.
Approve the bills.
I'll second.
Any other comments? All in
None.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're on to the reports. Rick. Fireworks went well. They were great.
So I'm going to add just a couple of things that aren't on here because it was after I wrote this up. But the town band concert, Tara's son played in it, and there were about 500 people on the green for the town band. It was great.
Nice. Great.
You know, we're seeing that people are really, they're coming back. You know, it was the first concert that was back on the green after over a year, and 500 people came out. It was great. They're spread out over the whole green. Fireworks. We always estimate about 5,000 or 6,000 people. It was a good sized crowd for sure. And I definitely want to call out the fire department. We had there were major puddles in the parking lot on Friday. We had, what, 3 or 4 inches of rain, whatever it was, a ton of rain. And then the sun came out, but I had contacted Charlie Hershaft and asked if they, is there any way they could try to pump it off? And they were there for about 5 hours on Friday. Pumping, at one point, they were pumping 1,700 gallons a minute. I mean, that's how much, that wasn't directly in the Fairgrounds parking lot. It was like a little, there's a little stream that the water drains to, and that was all backing up. That's where they had the fire truck with a huge amount of water. But they had pumps in the middle of the parking lot in different corners. They did a great job, because I was concerned that if Saturday night was gonna be a nice night and we had to cancel because of puddles, thousands of people would have shown up and wondering, where's the fireworks? Why is this not happening? So without them, it couldn't have happened. And Jim Considine is the fire marshal. He was from 10 a.m. till about 11 p.m. He has to be there when the fireworks arrive. He was there the whole time. Of course, most of the fire department was there if needed. Keith Kennel is a firefighter, but also part of the Ag Society. He's the one that arranged to get all the puddles pumped off. Without those guys, it just couldn't happen. Police department had 3 officers there that were constantly walking through the parking lot, to keep things in order. And of course, the Ag Society, if they had said no about the puddles and soft grounds, then we couldn't have had the fireworks. So I just wanted public to make sure that we really appreciate them. And then we had two guys.
So while we're on that, I had mentioned to Rick, and with the okay of the commission, because it would come from all of us, I thought we should send a note of thanks to the fire department, or to the fire commission, to the police commission, and to the Ag Society, basically thanking them for allowing us to be able to put this together, because without them, we would not have been able to do this.
Before we congratulate everyone, I do have some actual physical questions regarding, because I was there with my family and my daughter and grandson who came down from Worcester. First of all, Rick, can you just give me an idea as to how this is managed? Who manages the parking, and where does the money go from the parking? Because this is the first year that we had charged a parking fee.
No, it's not.
It's the first one in my memory, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, okay.
So I regret making an incorrect assumption there, but this is the first time that I recall paying. I haven't been there for a while. So can you give me, an idea how that works?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think we've ever not charged for parking. There's always have. We started fireworks in 2000. So we've been doing it like 21 years under our jurisdiction. But the parking is managed by the Ag Society. They get the money. It's not ours.
They get the money. Okay.
They set the fee. They did double it. It used to be $5. It went up to 10 this year. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people paid it because there were a lot of people there. But that's them. That's all them. They set up the ropes, to set up the aisles and the alleys for the parkers. That's all them.
Okay. So any complaints or observations that I would have with regard to the way that the parking was managed would have to go to the Ag Society and not towards Park and Recreation. Is that correct?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Because there were some deficiencies in what I could see with regard to the parking. I mean, people were just, what's the word I'm looking for? Belligerent. Some of them were about where they parked and how they managed their conversations with other people who were already parked. So it just seemed like there were too many cars in too small of a space, and exiting the property was even more difficult because there were.
Oh God, I imagine it was.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah,
the other thing too, Lover's Lane was supposed to be one way, but there was no PD management to determine which way was one way. So there were cars going in both directions about an hour and a half before the beginning of the show, and half the Lover's Lane was barreled off or cordoned off with barricade. So trying to squeeze 2 cars through one lane of Lover's Lane was also had its deficiencies as well. But I know this is a park and recreation function with regard to fireworks. If the public has some complaints, I just didn't want them to direct them towards us, that they would go towards the Ag Society.
I was there also, and I am not there every year. I have been in the past, but not every year. And I guess I parked in a really good spot because I told everyone, I have never gotten out of there so fast and so easily. Because, you know, I was facing the right way and I didn't even realize how close I was to an exit that opened up. And so I'm sorry that you had the problem, Don, but I just have to say that like where I was, it was like lickety split. I could not believe, like it was flowed. So
Yeah, we walked in, but we got out pretty quickly.
yeah.
I'm there pretty much, pretty late. And I'd say that it takes about an hour for that whole parking lot to clear out.
Yes.
Roughly. Some people hang out and they tailgate and they're there longer, they kind of just stay longer, but it was pretty clear. Let's see, I left about 11:15. And so by then it was pretty clear. So it was about an hour later.
No, okay. No, I had talked to someone who said that took them nearly an hour, so they must have been right in the middle, right up front.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
know
if you get there early, you have to plan on staying late. I think it seems if you get, a close up,
Yes.
then there's probably no way around it, but
Or if you
No.
know better, you go early and park way in the back.
yeah. And I
Yes.
I was in the back obviously to get out like that, but we had a great time.
No,
Oh,
we
no,
did too.
I
It was
think the
great.
fireworks were fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think everybody was very orderly. Everybody was very happy to be together. But once the fireworks end, behavior management really took over in different darker
That's too
side.
bad.
I do just have one thing, and this is not a complaint. I'm not sure who puts the porta potties there. Do we, or does the ag society?
We order them. That's we do. Yeah.
It seemed fine, but it just seemed like a small number for that number of people.
Not enough.
It's
Yes.
not, there were 6
A
of them,
long
at least
line.
unless they're in a different place. I mean, 6
We
seems.
had 9 units altogether. So
Were
we
they
had
all
some,
in the same place?
if you're facing the fairgrounds, we had some way over to the right, kind of for that.
Oh, I don't think people knew
I don't
that.
think people realize that because everyone seemed to go in the middle, like near where the food was. Cause I was
Yeah.
thinking there's no way for this number of people that we would have so few, but it didn't occur to me to venture farther away. So maybe people, if that was near like the seating area, that not the car area, maybe they knew, but,
Mhm.
or maybe even if there's a sign so
Maybe
people.
next
I don't
year
know.
we should make it a little, a
Make it
sign.
clear because
More
yeah.
porta potties that way or something.
Yeah.
Just to-
Yeah.
it's not a bad idea to have them in different locations.
Right.
Dispersed.
But I thought there were only 6 and I thought, whoa, I'm glad I got online early.
I did
There
too.
were 6
We
here
were
too.
watching that long line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were sitting up there. Yeah.
Well, maybe we could put some in the very back, by Lover's Lane.
That
That
might
might
not be a bad
Yep.
idea.
I think it's not a bad idea to have them separate. It just did not even occur to me there were more than just those ones in the center because those are the only ones I had ever used before, I guess.
Yeah.
I had made the assumption that they would be in the back. I was kind of surprised to see them up in front, to be honest with you, because usually they are in the back of wherever. So
And Rick, we manage the food service, is that correct? We select the vendors for that?
So Taryn took control of I should say control. She handled the vendors for me. Yeah, basically, people who would, they pay $200 to vend there. There were 2 vendors who showed up that were not on the list. I had to chase them down and collect money from them. I had to get $400 in cash from these 2 vendors. So they basically just snuck in and I didn't let that happen. I got them.
for
There
you.
was a truck that tried to get in. I turned away and said, look, you're not, we got a permit. They thought because they got the permit from the police department, they could just show up. But, it wasn't fair to those who paid the $200, to let these other in. So I had to chase around I'm gonna get someone else to do it. 'Cause I'm kind of running around all over the place that day and I was chasing around vendors.
I'm sorry, a suggestion for a new vendor for next year. I had heard from many parents who were looking for coffee and they couldn't find any.
Really?
Coffee. Yes,
Yeah, I don't think
yes.
anybody.
Whether it be
That's funny.
espresso or just plain ordinary coffee, they were disappointed that they couldn't find any place up front to buy any coffee. So just a thought for next year.
One never knows, I tell you.
Hey, you learn by experience.
One
So I
never.
don't-
Next year we'll have coffee and they'll say, what? You didn't have cold drinks?
They'll need more porta johns.
Yeah, well, that's
So
just as long
we
as we
don't
don't charge for those.
I was thinking about, I wonder if we, and I'd have to find out, can we legally do this, but if we limited to Guilford businesses to be the vendors, because I talked to John from Naples, see how they made out. It didn't sound like they were doing great, but the very flashy truck, they had all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff from Orange, and all flashy lights, very like carnival looking. And as a Guilford business, they pay $200 to be there, and they probably didn't do as well. So again, we don't have to spend time right now, but something maybe we should think about. Again, I don't know legally if we can, or we can because it's our event. We could say who goes in, who
Or
doesn't.
then I would think we could, but let's, again, let's not spend half the night talking about that. Let's look into that, and then, because we've got a year to figure that out.
Sure, yeah. But I think the bottom line is it went well. People,
Bottom
I
line,
heard
yes, I agree.
people, they
Bottom
thought
line
the
is
fireworks
great.
were great.
No.
It was a
Yeah.
good day.
Great.
It was an A performance.
One other thing, Rose, I just want to mention, because I did mention in an email, I think to everybody, that the Lake Quannapock Beach, we lost 1/3 of it.
I did drive by. Yes, we
Did I put
did.
that in?
Drove by it.
Yeah, and so I got 3 loads of sand there today. Tomorrow morning, we're closing the beach until noon because we can't have people on it when we're trying to get the sand out there. The trucks had to leave it in the parking lot. They can't get onto the beach, the triaxles. One year they did, or they tried, and they were backing up and they got stuck on it. You know how that ramp goes down?
Yeah.
They got hung up on it. A tow truck had to tow them off. So they don't venture onto the beach. They dump it in the parking lot. So our guys, you have to bring it with a loader, keep going back and forth to bring it onto the beach and spread it around. So we put it up on Facebook and the town website today that the beach will be closed till noon tomorrow. And we'll have 2 guards there just to help our staff, manage that, keep people out of it.
The other weekend.
That's not a hardship.
Has
Yeah.
the water receded? I mean, I've been home. Is the water gone down? I mean, that water was almost up to the road.
Yeah, it's pretty high, but it's going down some. But I was most concerned about that washout. I also sent photos of it to our town engineer, and she's working on going to work on some plans to do something so this doesn't happen again. This is the second time this year. Over the winter, we already put 2 loads of sand on that beach because erosion, not as bad as this, but over the winter it eroded. And just before Memorial Day, we put sand there. And now we got 3 loads we got to put in tomorrow. And it's, I think, over about $2,000 of sand.
We don't do this every year. Why is this year worse? Is there any
Well, the rain, we had so much rain.
so
that
much
storm-
rain this year? Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rick, is it, are we looking possibly in the future about maybe having a state DOT put a culvert through there so it wouldn't wash out, or put some type of a channel so that the water would direct towards the grassy area rather than through the beach?
you know what, John, I thought there was when Jim Forley, when this happened years ago, I thought he had them DOT put a curb up. And I don't know if they did some repaving, or there's no curb there though. And
Well, the
thought-
snow plows knock it down.
Yeah, it could be. So Janice is going to work something rather than go through DOT, because who knows how long that could take. She's going to do something on the town side of that fence, whether it's a berm, I don't know what it's going to be, but she's working on a plan so this doesn't keep happening. I'd like to see if they can direct it to that. Just at the beginning of the grassy area, there's a little bit of it's an outlet. There's a pipe there that comes from the parking lot and it goes into the water there. So if she can work on something to direct it to there, then it'll help reduce what's happening on the beach.
Hey, Rick, so Rick, the water's coming from Route 77.
It's
That's
just sheets, sheets over it. There's like
On
a
the
sheet.
hill.
Oh, so it's coming from Route 77 and that's what's washing the beach out.
And the
Yeah.
parking lot and the hill on the other side of the parking lot.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
It just comes rushing down that hill. I mean, there's not much we can do.
So a lot of it went into the lake. Connor went up there and sent me a video of the lifeguards. It's very shallow now where all that sand went into the water. It's like ankle deep, but then it just drops off by about 2 feet where then it's knee deep. So we caution tape, blocked it off, that area to keep people out of there over the weekend. I didn't want to close the beach. I said, we got to open it, but it, definitely restricted the amount of people, at least on that side of it. But
That's okay, because the weather has been, I went by there today, there was one person there, the lifeguard.
yeah, we're kind of fortunate. We have not had a big hot
So, yeah,
weather, yet, since it's happened anyway, but I
Yeah,
talked to
at least
Kevin about it. We may have to go to Wetlands Commission because maybe we may have to go in somewhere with a backhoe or something to scoop that sand back out. Because it is, I wouldn't say it's a real dangerous situation, but it's ankle deep and then it's knee deep, it just kind of drops off. So we have to see if there's a way to spread that, but we're gonna probably need wetlands approval to do that.
And I don't know about that, but they're predicting heavy thunderstorms here, and there's tornado warnings in Jersey, so this usually comes your way.
Yeah, it looks like tomorrow afternoon is going to be rain all afternoon. So I think for this to happen, it's probably a good time because we're not having really good beach weather right now.
Right.
So
Let's
Yeah.
hope it doesn't rain so heavy that we.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Rick?
Just the last thing, our first beach concert, which got canceled last week. So the first one is gonna be this Thursday. It's Shaded
good.
Soul. Shaded Soul down at Jacobs Beach, and our first concert in the green is July 25th, and that's the Monkeys tribute.
Great.
nice.
That's enough for me.
Okay, any comments on who's up next year? Oh, Todd's report. Other than the fact that we have been talking about these tables for how long now?
For a while, but then, we usually take them out of the program account, and that
Yeah.
went very low. So that's starting to get built back up again, and we have pretty good indication when the recovery money comes in. Matt, he hasn't officially said this yet, but pretty good indication that we can
Get some
make
money
up
back.
lost revenue.
Okay,
And so we can build that account back up, and then we can start doing some of these things.
because the tables they're cracking,
We
they're
gotta replace them.
they're a
Yeah,
mess.
Yeah.
And people are getting caught on them, and we need to do something about that. Okay, Ellen's report. Any questions or comments on that? Camp is going well?
130 kids this week.
Yeah.
Another indication we're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeehaw.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this session sold out. Unless they
Yes.
added more,
Might be right.
because
Yep.
my daughter's going to that session and I signed her up, and then I realized when I suggested it to a friend who I do think reached out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's full. So that's a good sign.
Wow. Great sign. Okay. Any questions about Terry's senior report? Other than it's growing and growing, they're starting to come back in droves.
75 people for lunch last week on Friday, so they're coming back. And it just, because this is televised, we need bus drivers. We're really need bus drivers to have the CDL license. We do have a couple people that are gonna do the van, the Dodge Caravan, whatever it's Chrysler Voyager, whatever it is. It's just a passenger endorsement, that's easy, but we used to have 9 bus drivers, we have 5. And I believe we're gonna lose one in the fall. I think he's moving out of state. So in the first time ever, sometimes we've had to turn people away from a ride. We couldn't do it.
I was there on a Friday when Terry said there was not a bus driver to be had. The other ones had just sort of worked all week, and there was not a bus driver to be had that Friday.
Rick, is it a long process to get the CDL license? You know?
It's a process. I don't know how long, but yes, it's a
Okay.
It
test.
could be.
There's a driving test. You got to go to the state and take a driving test, and they're
Okay.
very, very strict.
Just
You
so
know,
I
if
can
they're
let a few people know that I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. If you can, if you know
It's
anybody.
not impossible, but I guess the hard part they told me is is the test. It's
Yeah.
the driving test.
It
It's
is.
the driving test, backing up, going through
It's the
cones.
backing up the bus and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people are better at it than others, and some people have to take 2 or 3 times to do it.
You have to get 100%. You miss one thing, you touch a cone, they fail you, and you're done.
You're done, and then you have to go back another time and.
Right.
Well, like they should.
Yeah,
Right.
Rick,
Yeah.
are,
Okay.
Rick, are our drivers limited by the number of hours they're allowed to drive?
Well, yes and no. I mean, they're budgeted for, they're supposed to be under 19. We've had some that have done 30, 35 hours because we didn't have it. These are retired people. They don't really want to work a 35-hour week, and so we don't want to burn these guys out. Well, men and women, we have
Right.
a woman too. And so
But there's no DOT restriction saying the number of hours that they're allowed to be. behind the-
DOT, no.
Okay,
No.
it's just,
No,
it's the
Okay.
town restriction.
right.
okay, that's
They're
fine.
part-time.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions on Anthony's report, other than they're doing a great job?
Awesome.
Very fortunate. Okay, reports of our Commission, standing fields. Anything new, John?
Nothing to report. Nobody met.
Okay,
No
that
quorum.
was easy. Green Committee, Rick.
No, their meeting last month lasted, I think 8 minutes, and I missed it. By the time I was able to get on, they were done. So,
All right. Well, it's summer. Land acquisition. Remember, Laura's not here, and plus she can't tell us anyway. Splash pad, Claire, anything happening?
Just still working on finding creative ways to fundraise. You know, we told people that it wasn't obviously happening this year, so our goal is to have everything ordered by February of next year. So it's all about fundraising.
Somebody
No.
got to hear cheers.
Hey, Claire.
Yeah,
I love the cheering for you, Claire.
I need it all.
I'm sorry, clerk, just a quick question. I seem to have lost my notes regarding this. What is the final determination of location for the splash pad? Is it going to be Jacobs Beach? Is it Bittner? Is
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Jacob's Beach,
Jacobs.
Okay.
adjacent from the playground. On the sand, it's taking up some of the span. It goes the playground, then there's a gravel walkway, and then there's the
Yes.
beach, and it's a little part of the beach there.
Okay, very good.
You know-
Thank you.
You know, Claire,
Yes.
I mean, I know it's, you know, it's called a splash pad and we all think about little kids, but I was watching, I don't know, the news somewhere. And the heat wave was on and you could see elderly people, people in wheelchairs and walkers in this splash pad to cool off. And I think we need to maybe approach some of the different people in town, explain this is not just for children. This can be really important for somebody in a wheelchair who just needs to cool off and can't get into the water.
And that has been
Absolutely.
our message the entire time, is that this is not for just toddlers of Guilford. This is literally for everyone. That's why the design, I feel, took as long as it did. It was because we were trying to accommodate every person, every age group, ability. And I think we've accomplished that. And I think that visually it will fit in perfectly down there. It's not going to be an eyesore. It's not all these big dragon tails like at an amusement park. It's very natural looking, and it's meant for everyone.
But I think we need to somehow expand the fundraising part to that.
Yes. We're looking at different groups to hit up now,
Great.
to make sure that we are getting the recognition of the abilities and the age groups that we want. So it's not easy after COVID, but we're doing it.
Well, if I can help, let me know. So,
Thank you.
Awesome.
okay. Pickleball courts, they are in the process.
It was coming along well. You know, a lot of
Till it
most of
rained.
the material they had to deliver is there. It's been compacted, but there's a wrinkle.
Oh,
We found out there's a 12-inch drain pipe underneath two areas that they've already compacted. It was from the old ice rink, you know, when they're draining water out, when we used to flood it. Our engineer, actually 3 engineers, have all said that pipe has got to come out. So the contractor's gonna have to dig up what he's already compacted and pull the pipe out and then refill it and recompact it. That's gonna set it back a little bit. And there was a change order for doing that. You know, I mean, we would have to pay him. It's extra work he's got to do. I think it's something they're not really happy about having to do, but the town engineer, our engineer for the project, and another engineer have all said it's got to come out because the weight of that concrete pickleball court over time, it could cause that big plastic pipe to crush and settle. Then it'd be settling, and the pickleball court could be, could be affected by that. So 3 engineers said it's got to be done, so he's going to have to do it. So that's going to set it back some. All that rain we had, there was some erosion on the bank that they had packed. So they're going to come back and fix that too. I called them and told them about that today. So it may push everything back a little bit. We had hoped to be done by around September 1st. So maybe a couple weeks later than that, but I don't think it's not a major hindrance.
okay. All right. Oh, the request for the box lacrosse at Nut Plain. So some of us did trek out there and take a look at it. but we had put off the vote on that. So I think we do need to get a motion.
Well, for those that did attend that walk, so I guess it's just you and Lawrence. I mean, I know where they're asking to put it, but did you guys see any reason why not to put it there?
No, Laura was with us too. No, actually not. It's just.
Yeah, if I can pipe in.
And Nick Kane was there too.
Yeah, if I can pipe in, I've been thinking about this. I mean.
So
they're
is
gonna-
the Chestnut Tree Farm inactive? Is it no longer?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is inactive.
Okay.
Lawrence, you had something you were in the middle of saying.
Yes, I think it's a great idea to have this, but I don't know if that's, I mean, it's off the beaten path. So there's gonna have to, I would assume that the town's gonna require that a road be built down there. You know, if any emergency vehicles gotta get in, get out of there, because it's a tight spot. I mean, I can't imagine that they're gonna allow it without, you know, widening the road and putting an easy access to get in and out of there. If God forbid, if, you know, somebody gets hurt or there's a fan that has a medical emergency. I mean, that's, and I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure they thought about this, Rick, but why not just put it where the practice lacrosse field is now? Like, you know, they have like the practice field, then the full blown field. They never thought about just putting it where the practice field is, you know, immediately adjacent to the parking lot. I mean, there's going to be a lot of extra work that has to be done to put a field in that location. I mean, that's all got to be cleared out. I mean, Park and Rec is going to have to be clearing that every year.
So I think they take care of it, don't they, Rick?
Yeah, I think, you know, it'd be understanding that their responsibility to do any maintenance down there. But to your point, Lawrence, you know, I guess maybe I can contact the fire chief or assistant fire chief, go down there and look at it, see if they would have any issues with an ambulance getting down there. I mean, they're pretty good at getting anywhere they got to go, but there might be some, you know, branches being trimmed back. I don't think we could ever pave a road down there because there's so many wetlands there. You know, I don't think the Wetlands Commission would allow any kind of paving, but maybe just stone or something. But
Oh yeah, whatever. But I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is that they're gonna have to expend a lot of money just to, you know, to build a road down there, to clear it all out. I mean, it's their money and all, but, and then, I don't know, man, it doesn't look like the ideal spot to put a field because it's off the beaten path. And I'm just, you know, again, it's a great idea. I'm just thinking, man, there's got to be an easier location to stick a field in.
I think.
I assume, but you don't know that.
Thought into it themselves, and then they must have felt that was the best location for it. I mean, they just didn't, I assume they didn't just do this willy-nilly. They considered where to do this. And
Yeah.
if they're willing to, you know, and we talked about that, you know, and he knew they're gonna have to fix that road a bit. He knew they're gonna have to get trucks in there. They know what they have to do. They know they have to clear it out. So if they're willing to do it,
But I guess what I'm trying to say, I wish somebody from the lacrosse association was here tonight. You know, they're on the agenda. I wish somebody was here to, you know, we could discuss it about it. And my feeling is that I think all commission members should go down there before they, you know, this is a big deal. And I think for people to vote on it and not have gone down there to see exactly what's going on, you know, we're not voting on a portable library. We're voting on, you know, a major project. And, you know, I think everybody should go down there and take a look at it before. I think it's too early to take a vote.
well, I think they want to try and get this done. I don't know if we could put it off another month.
Yeah, but I'm saying, well, you know, I don't think that's a reason to take a vote because we got to get it done.
Yeah.
Make weight.
It's a piece of property that a lot of people are very familiar with because it was the community garden. It was the whatever farm.
Chestnut.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are pretty familiar with it. I think, you know, I would suggest that we do make a motion with the stipulation that we check with the fire department that it would be okay for ambulances for emergency. That would be my recommendation.
I'll make the motion.
Say he was going to come back with an updated proposal because he didn't present us with anything last
He
month.
sent it to us by email.
Oh, he did?
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
Yeah,
which-
I'm not
which-
on.
We all received it by email.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't have it in front of me, but it really, if I remember correctly, it was like a one-page thing. It really didn't.
I mean, showed us what it would look like and the whole thing.
Yeah, but in other words, he didn't, and that's a good point. I mean, no one has come forward to say, okay, here are the plans. This is what we this is what we, it was the only thing he sent us, if I, tell me if I'm wrong, is that this is what the field would look like. It's some drawing, but there's no actual proposal that says this is what we plan on doing with this property. They have not presented that. And I think that's why we're jumping the gun here that, you know, I mean, all they've come forward with, this is where we like to put it. And that's it. And they haven't come forward with what their actual plan is. Like, you know what I mean? It just seems like we're just
Well, I think they
jumping
wanted
right
us
into
to
this.
approve it before they actually start to talk to people about, you know, clearing the land and this is how we're going to clear it and this is what.
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna do.
I
I mean,
don't
we
know.
have to give them the approval to do that.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that it seems like we're jumping into something, we're approving with something that's major with not a lot of information. That's what I'm saying.
Well, to
guess
address your concern, I want
Go ahead,
to
John.
address one of Lawrence's concerns here with regard to building a road and having emergency vehicles make it down there. We have, I don't know how many miles of hiking trails here in the East River Preserve, the Timberlands, the Westwoods, the Concopossett. That's not accessible by a fire department vehicle as well. I mean, I don't see that would be a hindrance with regard to emergency services. Our emergency services people are pretty astute as to how to get to remote locations. And I don't think this is a very good location.
If we're talking Timberlands versus Nut Plains Woods here, I mean, we're talking apples and oranges. I mean, obviously you can't get a fire truck in the middle of Timberlands. I mean, that's just common sense. But I mean, and also, I mean, how many commission members literally went to that meeting and actually looked at the property? How many?
I've been there numerous times hiking, Lawrence. That's not an issue.
Yeah, I've walked that property multiple times. I've been on this commission 7 years and we've walked that property plenty of times to put different activities and looked at using that space. So I feel comfortable making a choice for myself in voting on
Okay.
property, whether I've been there or not.
All right.
I also feel the same way. I've been there as well. I feel comfortable making a decision.
Yeah.
Rose, if I just, Nick, when Nick Kane was there, Nick mentioned that he played lacrosse when he was in high school.
Right.
And he said there was a box lacrosse, I forgot, Simsbury or someplace. And he did comment on what an asset it was to lacrosse players to have that. So I think if he were here tonight, he'd be able to comment on that. You know, haven't been a lacrosse player, but I know he had a lot of positive things to say about it when we did that walk.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely for, you know, putting a field in. Absolutely, the benefits, absolutely. But I have a problem with the location and how quick we're approving this location with not a lot of information. That's all. That's my point. Agree or disagree, whatever.
Right.
I'm totally for it. I just think it's not a good spot.
Yeah, I think a lot of us.
I mean, it could be a good spot, but we just don't. We're not getting
So
a lot of information.
Is the maintenance, will the maintenance ever fall on Park and Rec? I guess that's what my question is.
Of course.
How much of it will, Rick?
It always does.
I mean, it's a box. I mean, it's that they'll maintain all of that.
I think we can make it part of the agreement, maybe with if you choose to approve it tonight, that, you know, it's their responsibility for any kind of, this is the same thing that happened with the barn at Long Hill Park when the youth football
Yes.
built that. The agreement with them was that your main, you know, it's town, technically it's on the town property and it's a
But
town
you-
building, but you're gonna be responsible to
You're gonna
maintain
be
it.
responsible for it. I think
And
that's,
I think that's smart to do that.
Yeah.
Of course, we're always going to try to help, but I mean, I just don't want it to like 10 years down the road. This
Right.
falls as an expense for Park and Rec if we don't have the money to do that. So,
and it's a piece of property that 10 years down the road will convert back to being woods, if nothing else. I mean, it
Right,
just keeps
right.
always going back to something, you know, you make it a garden, it became a wood, you made it.
Right,
becomes a wood.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a piece of property that's been developed multiple times or tried to be
Right.
developed multiple times for multiple things. And then when they
And
take it
used.
apart, it's a used piece of property. Yes. It's
Used
not
piece
like
of
it's
property.
pristine, that's never been used before. So it's been used a lot.
Yeah, but it's been used for, I mean, what has it been used for? A garden, right?
Well, then the
Maybe-
tree farm, I think it was wasn't it a field at one time, even before it became?
It
the-
was an open field, then it was the community gardens, and they put the chestnut tree farm in there when the community gardens moved up by
Dudley
shoot.
Farm. There was
Dudley
a
Farm.
Dudley Farm and there's
Dudley
some
Farm.
at
Yep.
Me Dad Tavern has one too.
Dudley
Yeah.
Farms.
Okay. So does somebody want to make a motion that we allow for the box lacrosse with the caveat that they will maintain it
Mhm.
and that we do check with the fire department that it is okay with them?
I will
I-
make the motion that we approve the Chestnut Farm to be used for box lacrosse with the caveat that Guilford Lacrosse is responsible for maintenance and that we check with the Guilford Emergency to make sure that access is to their liking.
I would like to make a stipulation in agreement with Lawrence that maybe we should, I mean, I would like for the project to go forward, but I think at the same time, I agree with him that we should see at least what a composite drawing of what the facility would look like.
Well, I just assumed that once we approved that they could do that, they were gonna run this by us.
Okay, that's
Am I
fine.
wrong in assuming that, Rick? I mean, they're just not, they're gonna have to show us the plans, right?
Yeah,
Right.
maybe we'll have, you know what, maybe, hopefully in August we'll meet live and we can have them bring, drawings or something with them. I'm not sure how fancy they are with it yet, or at least if they bring, I thought with the PowerPoint he sent that I sent out, didn't have a picture of what it would look like. I thought there was something in there.
Yeah,
Of,
but-
Yeah, the
I don't
the
think it was-
PowerPoint had a lot.
It had
Yeah.
a lot, but maybe we just need to know where it's gonna be situated and what exactly is gonna be involved in doing this.
That drawing was nothing particular to that piece of property, Mike.
Yeah,
And to me, what you're saying here is that, I mean, we should wait to get all this this drawing and all this kind of stuff. We should wait for all that information and then take a vote. To me, what's the horse before the cart, whatever they say, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if somebody obviously if somebody wants to make a motion, but we're taking
well,
the
but
cart.
I think by doing this, it gives them the feeling that they can proceed with this. And that if they do everything that we ask, that it will be fine. If we just say, bring us everything, and then they're gonna go walk through all this work and be afraid that we're gonna say, oh, nah, not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
don't,
and the feeling that they can,
Bro,
doesn't,
I just want to say that we're going to prove something. All right. And then they're going to come forward with the drawings and this and that. That should have been already done. Somebody should not, Guilford Plus should be here tonight to discuss this, but do what it just seems like we're approving something that, again, we don't have enough information. Now we're going to go reprove it, and now we're going to go request for drawings, request for that. Well, that's something we should already have in our hand in front of us, and then we vote on it. But that's my humble opinion.
Rose, can I make a suggestion? What if you
wait,
approve?
Claire had something to say.
Oh, sorry, Claire.
no, I'm good.
What if you approve the concept of them doing this in Nut Plains Park, but to come back with a more final design, exactly where it's going to go there, and then
We have 20
you're
minutes.
kind of giving the go ahead to move, and then just get the final design approval to the commission.
Can I make a motion?
Well, we already have
Wait
one.
a minute.
On the
We've
table.
got a motion on the floor that has not been seconded. Claire made a
I'm sorry,
motion
I'm
to
sorry.
approve the project. So
But
you either need
Claire,
to
would you be
withdraw that
willing-
motion or go forward.
I will second.
Well, it has been seconded. The motion's on the floor and has been seconded. Discussion has to be concluded by the chairwoman, and then we may proceed to vote.
Can somebody repeat what the motion is again, please?
The motion is to allow Guilford Lacrosse to use the Chestnut Farm for a lacrosse box with the stipulation that we they maintain it and that we have approval from the Guilford Emergency to make sure that it's adequate to get in and out of.
Okay, any other comments on that motion?
No,
All right, all in favor?
positive.
Aye.
Hands up.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, motion
And
passes.
with a caveat that due to lack of information.
Okay. Okay, Claire. Claire,
Yes.
Claire.
I couldn't hit mute, unmute fast enough. Sorry.
okay, unmute because I have to go now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all.
Good day.
Aye.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank
Happy
you. We will have fun,
Aye.
sure. We
Did
always.
we make a
have fun.
motion to end the meeting?
Excuse me?
No.
I didn't. Did somebody make a motion in the meeting?
Just
No, no,
Rose
meeting's
is leaving.
not over. Claire's
Rose
gonna
is
finish running the
leaving.
meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Claire's gonna finish running it because I've got to go.
Okay.
Bye all.
Oh, okay. That's
Bye,
fine.
Rose.
Bye.
Bye, Rose.
You're on, Claire.
All right, so we already voted on that. So request for the little library at community center. It looks like from the notes that were sent back in correspondence that they did not like the fact that we had approved it to go at Jacob's Beach under the current one. And they are suggesting that we put it at the community center in the back. I'm assuming in the back they mean by the playground. That area, Rick?
I thought that by the back door, but we can clarify that. The second option we gave them was Bittner Park, and they really didn't want to have it at Bittner. They liked their second option was community center.
Yeah, Rick, if I could, I think that letter, that email that that gentleman sent, I think it says specifically where he wanted. I could be wrong, but I thought he said in the playground area. I thought he was specific on where.
Maybe I was wrong. Let me see. I have the letter here.
I assumed reading it that they meant by the like the picnic area and the playground, so that it was close to where the children go in and
Where
out
the
with their
children-
families.
This is a letter from.
I
who?
agree. I think that's correct.
I have it right here. It says please consider placing a little library box near the rear entrance to the community center. To me, that means the back.
Back door.
That's the way I read it.
That's
Yeah.
how I understand it too.
See, okay, so then I have a problem with that because it's too close to the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
For the rear entrance, I don't think that that's the space, but I also don't think that the community center is the place for it, since the Guilford Library is only steps away. So that's just my feeling. I think either where we suggested at Jacob's Beach or Bittner Park are the two best places for it to be. I think putting it at the community center when Guilford Library literally is a few steps away just kind of doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, anyone else chime in on that? I just think it's interesting.
Okay,
Forgive
Mike,
me for asking this. Why can't it go at Jacob's Beach underneath what's there?
I think they thought it was too low. You'd have to really, the one that's area is probably about 4 feet high. They didn't think there was room to put it underneath it on the same thing. You know, like if an adult's going to get a book out for the kid, they're leaning way over to get it. It's probably 2.5, 3 feet high or something.
So can it be in another location at Jacob's?
I try to remember, did the commission suggest to go on there? I forgot what.
I don't remember.
the commission suggested that it be attached to the existing post where the
Yeah.
current lending book library box is right now.
Right.
And not to put up a second pole.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, it's dear to my
my-
heart. Bonnie Lamberton was a friend of mine, and I attended her memorial at Jacob's Beach, and that personally to me is the most fitting place because that was a special place for her and children were special for her. So, you know, I just think that's a great place for it. If we could find somewhere at Jacob's Beach, I think her children, her sons would be very happy with that, and her
Okay.
husband.
well, I think we're having an issue with the fact that the family who wants to give it to us doesn't want it at the spot that we have recommended. So the only thing that I would have against Jacob's Beach is the fact that it's not going to be used 8 months of the year. Jacob's Beach is a summertime location, and
True.
I just feel like that's going to be it'll be non-functional for us more than 50% of the time that it's going to be there.
Rick,
I know,
Oh,
I know in other months other than the summer, when the weather is decent, people, families do take their kids down to the playground. That I do know.
and I'm sorry, I was not here.
Not to
during
sound
this.
cynical, but when I take my grandson to the beach, I'm not going to get a book to read to him. I'm taking him to the beach so we can play in the playground, so we can play on the beach, so we can play in the water. It's not, if it's going to be for a book, we're going to go to the library. We're not going to go to Jacob's Beach.
Hey, Rick,
I can see that too.
hey, Rick, you see these portable libraries everywhere. I mean, do they get any use? Like the portable library down in Jacobstown? I mean, do we have any record of it getting use? And I agree with John. It's like, how much use is it going to get? I mean, would they consider something else to in memory of their mother? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, is it going to get any use? Maybe there's something else that we could put down there that'll get some use.
I look at it differently. I look at it differently. I look at it as it's almost an encouragement to help children want to pick out a book and take it home and read. Sure, you can go play at the beach and go play at the playground. Hey, look, now you can get a book and take it home to read, and the next time we come back, you can bring it back.
Yeah.
I don't think the two have to go
point,
together. I don't think the two have
but
to
to
go
John's
together.
point, to John's point, like John's saying, he doesn't imagine it getting any use, and I agree with him. And my other point is like, there's one down there now. Does that get any use? I see all these portable libraries, but I never see anybody pulling a book out of them.
But what's the harm that it's there?
Mhm.
I don't see any harm that it's there.
Well, if you're going to put something there, it's got to be. You're not going to put something there if it's not getting any use. What's the sense of putting it there?
But I wasn't here
think
for this
differently.
discussion last time. I apologize. I wasn't at the meeting when this was discussed, but I'm right that the one that's there that's an Eagle Scout project, right?
Correct.
So I just didn't know if there's any, I don't know, I haven't looked at it in a long time. I've seen it, but if there's like a marker there, so can we just stick something on there, like another edition? Cause
I mean, to me, right. Like to me, would a child say, okay, mom, there's a book you can get. Where's there a book for me? Why is it just adult books? Why is it not?
well, no, that's true. But more what I meant was, if it's there, obviously when the scouts are doing projects at different places, it's not that they are owning these things, but
Right.
but it's sort of a recent project for this little library. So I how we alter it, I just didn't know if that was really the right thing to do, to actually alter the one that was recently put there as part of this project. And I think, am I right that it has a little plaque on it that says it's an Eagle Scout project? Like it's just altering something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with that too, what you're saying.
And I didn't know if maybe it could go back to back, like on the other side of the pole, but what's on that pole is the doggy bags. and I think again, part of the whole thing is how many structures, how many signs, how many things are we going to keep putting up, that are inhibit the beauty of the place. And that's why I think we put it on, we had the Boy Scout put it on the post that has the doggy bags on the other side of it, rather than another post. I mean, it's their request. They've asked for it either there, and then I think the commission, or they didn't want to put it on the same post. So their second option was the community center. I mean, is it up to you folks to say, well, is it, who's going to read it? But it's where they want it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's the point of it. And what's the harm if it's there? There's no harm if it's anywhere, quite honestly.
Right.
My concern with it at the community center, where they're asking to put it though, if it's in the rear of the building by the rear entrance, that's like parking lot.
I agree with that. I don't agree with that location I agree with that, Claire.
I agree with that, but I don't have an issue with it being at the community center, which is close to the library, because I do think it serves a different purpose. It's kind of But
I do
it
too.
makes more sense to me to be on the side of the building where the playground is.
Yes.
But I don't think, it's kind of like, it's a little library, but it serves a different person's, it's a different purpose. You just be walking by with your child and say, oh, that's neat, and grab it, not take a whole trip to the library. I don't think they take away from each other, they complement each other.
I agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Rick, I have a question regarding to the front of the community center. Where the reception desk is, just to the other side of it, there's a whole area of pamphlets. And then there on the other side of the wall, on the other side of the hallway, there's another area full of pamphlets. In your estimation, how busy are those walls with regard to pamphlets that are being removed when we have the community kiosk right outside the front door?
Yeah, welcome. Yep. That's a good question.
Well, we used to have I guess you call it credenza. There was the little hallway goes to the preschool room.
Yes.
One side many years ago was a phone booth, which that's long gone. But then across from that was a nice, beautiful custom made, I guess you call it credenza, and there were pamphlets, flyers, and stuff on that. That's been moved out of that. That is now in the Alexander Lounge. We moved it out of there because things were starting to get cluttered, and so we just started moving some things around a little bit. So really, all there is now is an extended bulletin board. So I think if you're thinking of putting it there, we kind of move stuff out of there to help reduce some of the clutter.
Okay.
And I think they want, and I did mention something about inside. I think they really wanted this outdoors.
Well, that was gonna clarify what I said. I was picturing it outdoors, which is why I said the side of the building by the playground. I was not picturing it in the building at that part. I meant outside.
Right.
Do we maintain children's books in the? Well, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the room.
Alexander Lounge.
Of the Alexander Lounge. Do we maintain children's books in there?
I think they're I don't think there are children's books. I think it's more that the seniors, if they want to come and read one, I think it's more adult level.
Okay.
Children's books there.
Hey, can I say something? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, not that we as a commission approve or disapprove things, whether we like people or don't like people, whether they're wonderful people. I know both families, our kids play sports. They are wonderful people. The person that requested it, there's not better people in the world. They're good. They're really, really good people. But it's like, it's never ending. I mean, we're always spending a lot of time on approving this, somebody passes away. And I just think there's a better way to honor Bonnie. I know they're requesting a little library, but I think there's a better way, and it's something, that we could do to honor her than a library. And I mean, I know they're requesting that, but I think I don't know. I just don't think it's going to get any use. I don't know. There's got to be something we could do to honor her that's going to get some use. People are going to see it. And I don't know.
To echo Lawrence's point here, we do seem to be spending a considerable amount of time discussing memorials with regard to citizens of the town of Guilford. I mean, I'm not trying to be maudlin about this, but I think we've probably starting to reach the point of saturation now, where what's the next thing that's going to be requested in more memorial of another individual. If it's a functional thing that we should have, yes, then we should put it up. But I mean, look at what we had to do. We had to create a subcommittee to find out about the number of park benches that we could put in across our parks, because too many people were asking for benches. I see we're going to be talking about Adirondack chairs at Jacobs. I'm sure the same thing's going to happen there too. People want to have donations in somebody's name for that. I'm not trying to be rude, but I think we're reaching a point of saturation with regard to this.
Yeah, John, well said, John. And it's like, our facilities, Jacobs Beach, whatever, they're not memorials, parks. They're functioning parks. And like Rick said, I mean, you can only put up so much stuff where it takes away from the beauty and the purpose of the park. And John said it well, it's like, let's put something in there that's functional. Like when what's functional is if you need a bench, you put a bench in and then, you put a plaque there, this is Don or so-and-so. I mean, so you kill two birds with one stone. Somebody was memorialized and the park gets something that they need. Thank you, John. Well said.
Rick,
Yeah,
what's
I
our,
agree-
I
I-
mean, we've already approved. We've already given approval to have it at Jacob's Beach and they just didn't like the location of it. So, I mean, can we really pull it back now?
Yes.
Because
If-
we,
if
I
doesn't-
mean,
if the purpose of the donation was to have it at a specific location and we don't approve the location, then it doesn't get approved. I think that's our role as the commission, is to, it's not just for one individual request, it's for the town.
right. And we did, I mean, when we approved it, we did approve it to say either at Jacob's Beach on the post or at Bittner Park. So, I mean,
If
they're coming back with the ask of the community center. So, I mean, I think it's this commission. How do we feel? Do we feel that it should go at the community center, or are we going to say no because the two spots that we offered are not what they want? So we're going to pull back our.
Well, Claire, if you're gonna give me an either or in that circumstance, my voice would be no.
To pull back.
It would be pulled back. It's either where we recommend as a commission, or we do not recommend to go to any other location.
And I agree. Again, I always try to be the peacemaker. I try to always see both sides of something. Unfortunately, this one is personal to me. Right, and I try to keep the personal stuff out of this. I feel as a commission, we need to, at some point, have discussions about a general topic of memorial things that people want to do, not just specific to a park bench or an whatever the memorial thing may be, whether it be a tree, a park bench, an Adirondack chair, a library. I think as a commission, we need to set a general guideline, because I think to families, it gets very personal that you
Right.
said yes to having an Adirondack chair, which, I sat in one the other day of someone that I knew, and it was very comforting to me. And I didn't even know it was there. I'll be very honest with you. Versus these little, we keep getting, you know how I want to say it. We just keep getting these letters from people that are heartfelt, right? We understand that we've all lost loved ones. To just pick, I feel like we're picking and choosing, and I'm not comfortable with that. So
what you're saying is then that we probably should get to the point where we don't do any memorials anymore. And that's how you
if
settle
we're
it.
saturated, exactly. If we're saturated, yeah, we're gonna get saturated, right? I'm from Guilford. My kids are 5th generation from Guilford. I'd like to have things when I die all over this town. I'll be very honest with you. But the reality of it is, right, that that can't happen. So I think instead of us picking and choosing, I think as a commission at the next meeting, or even aside without even being in a meeting, is just for us to all have a discussion about how we should handle this in the future. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't disagree.
I agree with you, Diane, because we're reacting to everything, and
Yes.
it has come
Yes.
up so often, and we spend a lot of time with this.
Yes.
We approach it with the benches and figure that out, but I
Yes,
think, right,
it's
we need
really
a
hard.
proactive conversation, and we will not be able to foresee every request,
Absolutely.
but just kind of have a guideline, because then I don't know how we can do it, but that makes
I
it
know.
more clear and doesn't
Yes.
get people's hopes up that they can do something, gives
Yes.
them some framework for the ask.
Absolutely. I am a huge empath. That's my weakness. I want to do everything for everybody. That's just who I am. So I just, like I said, I know Bonnie's voice, and I don't want it to be upsetting. I want to try to figure something out that will work. And maybe we can go back to them and say, we discussed it and we don't really maybe feel like these things are going to get used. Do we have another plan? Can we come up with something else? Like Lawrence said, you know the family too, Lawrence. What can we do to honor Bonnie? There's got to be something that can be very useful, and that's what she would want, quite honestly.
Well,
Something to be useful.
Diane, I agree with you up to a point, saying that we have to do something to honor her. I don't think as a commission we do. I don't think that is our obligation to
No.
say that anybody
but-
who makes a request to us that we want to put something in memorial to somebody, that we have to approve it.
Well, that's why I think we have to have the discussion. We have to have a
Okay, so-
discussion about when we get these requests.
So
how we
what I'm
handle them.
hearing is that for right now, our stance is we gave them the option of on the post at Jacobs or
Yes.
Bittner Park. Other than
Yep.
that, we are not willing to put up a little library. And that next month on the agenda, we need to have a discussion about memorial saturation. But as far as this family, our response back is it's either where we suggested on the post or at Bittner Park.
Correct. That I would agree with
Does
that.
everyone agree with that?
I agree with that.
I a caveat, and to me, at this point, we have an obligation to work with them and to get something done, without a doubt. And we need to get back to them and say, it sounds like to me, maybe I'm wrong, is that the little library doesn't sound like a good idea. Can you come up with some another suggestion? And we got to work with them.
But to them, it was a good idea. So we really have to be very careful about the way it's worded. To them, it was a good idea.
Yeah, but we don't want to be choosing sides either.
No,
And I don't think we're saying it's not a good idea. I think we're saying as a commission,
Yep.
knowing our properties that we have jurisdiction over, we feel our decision last month when you came to us was to not muddle up Jacobs with another post and sign, use what was there,
Mhm.
and add it to that. Or we felt the other place that it would get use would be at Bittner Park. And if that's not okay with them, then they can come back next month with a whole different suggestion if they want to. But those are the two places that this commission has agreed upon and suggested. And those are the only two places that we are willing to put a little library at this time, because we are reviewing memorial saturation in our town across our jurisdiction.
well said.
I agree.
All right,
I
so
agree.
can I get a motion that we will continue to approve the post at Jacobs Beach or Bittner Park?
No, I don't think we need a motion. The process is already in place, that we made them an offer, and the offer still stands. If they don't accept the offer, then the offer is removed. That's how, I don't think we need another motion, another set of approvals.
Okay, Rick, will you send the message to them that we are going to stand with our two places?
I will.
Okay.
Original decision.
And if I can pipe in, if Rick, and obviously, everybody's got to approve this, but that Rick, tell them, we want to work with you. It's just that, we want to work with you. And if you want it at Bittner Park, it'll go Bittner Park, as we already agreed upon that. But if they don't want it at Bittner Park, then, I think it would be nice gesture to work with them and say, hey, if there's anything else you can think of, and, we want to work with you.
Yes.
Because
Thank you.
we've opened the door for them, and
Yes.
but like John says, John's absolutely right. We have no obligation to do anything, but it would be nice to work with them.
So
There's got to
I'll
be
put-
something else we could do. And like I said, we opened the door, and I don't think we should just slam it shut on them.
Well, and I'm not trying to be a total rogue about this. Remember, I was the one who we had Ralph Panny's name on the Guilford High School varsity baseball field. I mean, I see a time and place for everything, but I don't think this is the time and place for us to keep expanding this.
No, John, you're absolutely right. You're saying what everybody else is thinking, and
Yes, I think that too,
Yeah.
John. I do think that.
I admire you for that.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're saying the tough stuff, and
Yep.
which should be said. Absolutely. Agree with you 100%.
Okay.
Yes. You have a
All
huge
right.
heart, John. I've known you for a long time. You have a huge heart. I know you do.
It's like the
All right.
Grinch. It keeps getting-
Do people have any problem with Rick also telling them that let's work with you? We want to work with you.
Yeah, I'll get something out to him. I don't know if you had to take a vote on that, Claire, or if you guys are just, that's what we're doing.
Just
but
reverting back to the original decision.
Meanwhile, if you think it's sounds like there's a lot of talk about memorial saturation. I'll put a note to put that on the agenda for August, so we talk about that.
Yes,
But there is,
thank you.
there is a policy that the commission approved on, benches and, fit in trees and parks, and, there's an approval process, in a qualification process. Part of it was you had to have a significant impact on Parks and Recreation in some way, like Ralph Serpani did, like Ken Mulvey did. Those were
That's
for
great.
field. Might have been a little different for like a park bench or something. Might have been something different, but we can, for the August meeting, we can review that policy and see if we're still in line with that or do something different. It's a different commission now from what established all those things. And maybe there are different views of how we do things now.
Sure. I agree.
I
But
definitely
before-
think we need to do that.
I
Yeah, but
agree.
before-
And I think it would be
before-
helpful to send out the most recent review, so we're all reminded about the
Right.
benches and what the
Yeah.
regulations we agreed on were.
You got it.
All right, so we've unfinished business, we're still under, but we have taken care of the private property sign.
Yes.
We have that small committee meeting with Joe, so we're gonna move on to new business.
Yes.
Request for an Adirondack chair. Rick, was that in the packet?
No, it's not a formal. So I emailed the person to find out. The woman was Linda Killian. It was not a memorial. She just thought we needed more chairs at Jacobs Beach. And willing to buy one. And we have 12 down there now. And I think in that packet, Claire, that you and Rose put together, we go up to 15 Adirondack chairs at Jacobs. So there's room for more. So I asked her if she seriously wants to do this, and she said if the commission approves it and if it can get done before the end of the season or not, then I think she said she'd have to think about it. So I believe it's not a memorial thing. If somebody wants to buy one and put it down there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
like, where does my thought go? I wonder if Bonnie's family would like to have a Adirondack chair in her memory. I mean, I know that was a special place for her. Her memorial service was there. There was a reason for it. That could be another suggestion that maybe they don't know, or,
I can mention that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to express some ignorance here. Are the Adirondack chairs that we have down at Jacobs right now, are they wood or are they composite?
It's a composite.
It's a composite. So they weather well.
Yes.
They will
There's
weather.
no make. Yeah,
No
Rick,
maintenance.
do those stay out in the winter or do they get put away?
we take them in.
Yeah, okay.
They don't get, so they don't end up in Montauk.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Okay.
So if you all agree, then I'll get back to this woman who wants the Adirondack chair and let her know we do have room still, and also let the Lambertons know there's room. And maybe we get them both done.
I think that if this is someone that's
Bye.
willing to just purchase one, then I think that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll let her.
All right, that was an easy one. Thank you. New business, the deposit for trash at, I'm assuming the pavilions you're talking about?
Yeah, it should be considered charging, not changing, because there is no deposit right now. That should say charging deposit. Here's what brought that up, and I just bring it up for discussion. If you guys do whatever you want with it, maybe it's kind of hard midway through the season now, but we're getting more and more picnics there. And I think I know Lawrence wants to chime in on this. It
Yeah.
clearly does say on the reservation form, they're supposed to bag their garbage and bring it out. Nobody does it because there's barrels there. And quite frankly, I probably wouldn't either. There are barrels there. People assume that's why they're there. But the problem happened a couple
not
weeks
an
ago.
assumption
There
for
were
me.
a lot of picnics over the weekend. And by Monday morning, and some people did put trash in bags, right? If the barrels were full, but they left them there. Again, nobody's doing anything wrong here, but raccoons, seagulls get into it.
Critters. Yeah.
Mess all over the, camp started that morning and we had trash all over the
But
picnic.
it's not that anyone's doing something wrong, but I'm sorry, but when you sign a form, you read the form.
Right, well, that's true. So I went down there the following weekend. I went down and I was there on a Saturday near where two picnics going on. And it was probably 3 o'clock. All the barrels were full already, and there was still another picnic coming after that. I'm sorry, I think it was Sunday, it wasn't Saturday, about 2 weeks ago. So I went to both picnics and I asked them, I said, the barrels are full. And actually, there was one empty barrel that was somewhere else in the parking lot. I dragged that over there. But I looked into the recycle barrels, which weren't full. And I said, look to both picnics. I said, I would prefer if you have bags, if you bag your garbage, take it out here. Don't leave it here. And I explained the whole thing with the animals and everything. I said, for this one time, if you have to, go ahead and use the recycle barrels. I'd rather have trash in there that gets thrown out than litter all over the parking lot. Recycle is supposed to be recycled. But I said, for this today, if that's the only option, do it. So what I've done since, I've had Shauna, who does the booking of the pavilions for us. She gives me a list by Wednesday of every week of how many picnics, how many people. And then I'm making a determination of if we have to bring a guy in on Saturday to come and empty trash, or Sunday morning to empty trash. I just don't want to have what's happened before with garbage all over the place. We've got a beautiful beach. Certainly doesn't look nice when you got picnic pavilions with trash all over the place.
Agreed.
So a thought was, on the form, do we put down, maybe we collect a deposit, I don't know, maybe $50, maybe it's $100.
$100.
Over the weekend, if there's trash here.
Absolutely.
But here's the problem with that. There could be six picnics over the weekend. How do we know which one left the trash? The only way we can do it is the
So
light.
how about on the form that they sign? Either it gets put in bold, it gets put on a whole separate form about trash that they need to sign. Then there will be no question.
No, but what I'm saying,
100%.
if there's trash left over on Monday morning, we get there and there's garbage all over the place. How do we know which group left it there?
Right, and you
Well-
have that's what I was thinking, because you have a morning party and an afternoon party, and are we gonna have people
It could be
actually
3.
knowing who,
Well,
followed
this
and
is a summer problem right now, right? So
yeah.
Yeah.
we do have a couple of youths that are sitting up by the beginning of the parking lot, checking passes and whatever. They take a picture. They have a camera. Everybody has a camera. Take a picture of, before you are allowed to leave, we're going to take a picture of your picnic area. Okay. And then they send that to Shauna. And then if it meets with her approval, then they get their deposit back. And I think you make the deposit, like you said, something that they will be willing to want to get back, like $100 or $200, whatever it is. But you make it so that they change their behavior and take their trash away with them. It's authenticated by the Park and Rec staff that's there, and then they get their money back from your staff.
Yeah, 2 points on that. I don't think we should put it on the Park and Rec, people at the front gate, whatever. We shouldn't put it, that responsibility on that. And number 2, you can't expect them to use their private phone to do that. They'd have to have a town-owned telephone to do that. You can't tell them, hey, you got to use your own private phone to use it, for a government function. Now,
I'll
gonna
become
cause
trash
problems.
police. That's how much this upsets.
Yeah,
me. I'll become trash
that's
police.
That's going to cause
It's
big problems.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's not their job. I mean, to monitor that. I mean, you're not going to be able to monitor that. I mean, unless you post somebody there, the whole day, you're wasting time. And if I could speak on the garbage cans itself, as far as the recyclable cans go, Rick, you've said numerous times that if you have as soon as somebody puts garbage into a recyclable bin, it all goes in the garbage. I can't, because I'm down there all the time and I'm putting stuff in these cans. I don't think once have I ever seen a recyclable garbage can without garbage in it. So it's basically, they're just all garbage cans. And as far as unsightly, it's unsightly. There's garbage cans everywhere down there. And talk about unsightly, that's unsightly. And I think Diana's mentioned this, we're getting to the point where it's like carry in, carry out.
Take all the garbage cans away.
Yeah, take them all
Honestly.
away and carry in, carry out. The state parks have been doing it for years. And I'm telling you, it's like, and it's great. I mean, you don't have to walk 2 feet to find a garbage can. They're everywhere down there. And it's not a good look. It's a beautiful beach. And then it's like at your private home. It's like sticking your garbage cans in your front yard. I mean, you just don't do that. It's unsightly to your neighbors. I don't know. We're getting to the point where it's like, again, get rid of the recyclable bins because no one's using them. I mean, they're all
Are
garbage
those,
cans down
are
there.
those
A
recycle
million of them.
bins? I'm not familiar with the tops of those recycle bins. Do they have just the point that you can, like is everything closed except for a circle where you can
No.
just put a can
No,
in,
it's
or is it a
got- it's
whole
got-
open?
No, it's not open. It's a lid on it.
It's
Okay.
got a lid.
Same as a trash,
just-
you got to open the lid to put something in it.
Yeah, they're the exact same garbage can, just a different color and different writing on it. One
Okay.
says recycle, one says garbage.
Okay.
But it's really a waste to have any recyclable cans on there because no
Well,
one's
well,
recycling.
Lawrence, you're right. It is because people don't use them, but by law, we have to. The law is you got to have, technically, every place you have a trash bill, you got to have a recycle barrel. Down there, we kind of modified that a little bit because, if you had the picnic pavilion and there were like 2 recycle barrels and 6 trash barrels, it's okay. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, we don't really have to have one and one there, but technically, in parks, we're supposed to do that.
Could we,
barrels at all is that we need them there for camp.
Right.
You got 130 kids,
Yeah.
you have to have them there. And it would be kind of a burden for my guys on Friday afternoon. They have to go pick up 15 or 12 or whatever's barrels and take them all out of there for the weekend. That's another added burden for them, and then bring them back on Monday for camp. There's not
Yeah,
a really
Do we need 12 barrels for camp?
well, the whole it's counting recycle. I'm just throwing a number out. Maybe it's 10. I don't know how many, but it's in the whole parking lot. It's probably that many. We got a couple by the bathrooms, and there's some scattered around the parking lot, a couple near the beach. I think there's 1 or 2 maybe by the playground. I'm just guessing on the number, but between recycle and trash, it's probably about 10 or 12.
And again,
Hey, Rick,
you don't see who's throwing their garbage. I mean, I told you the issue down at Quantapug a couple years ago. I sat in the parking lot a few times for lunch and watched the same car come in because I purposely went one day, the same day every week. It was the same car coming in and unloading their own garbage into that garbage can.
That does happen in some parks. I don't think that's happening at Jacobs though, because they're pretty full just by the people that are at the beach using
Beach,
it.
yeah.
hey, Rick,
Rick, at the beach, could we, on our forms, could we highlight the line that says bring your trash out, and could we use the board, not to add another sign, but the board that's on the pavilion already where it's supposed to indicate that there is a party and whose it is? Can we put a reminder there that all trash needs to be bagged and brought out?
We could certainly do that. And actually, I forgot to mention this. Shauna now is every time she is talking to people about the picnics, she is reminding them, she's telling them that they need to take their garbage out of there. So again, if the barrels are there, they're going to use them, right? Or maybe she's saying if the barrels are full, please take your trash out. Something to that effect. So we don't have this issue. It wasn't an issue 4th of July weekend. I was going to have somebody go down there and do it, but it was a damp, lousy weekend, so there weren't a lot of picnics. This weekend, I was going to have somebody go, since we had guys in working for the fireworks anyway, I was going to have them go to Jacobs and empty barrels on Saturday, but one of the larger picnics canceled out. So we emptied it on Friday anyway, which we do. I'm sorry, let me step back. Our camp wasn't there Thursday or Friday because of the rain. And then, and we emptied them on Friday. So we didn't need to do it on Saturday. Like I said, the picnics that were there, one of them was a larger picnic, canceled out. So I was going to try to work it in we had staff in anyway. Let's just have them go down there and do it, but we didn't have to do that.
hey, Rick, can I make a
When I asked about how many, when you said if we did that, you have to take your trash out, but we still need them for camp, it sounded like that was the issue. If it's only needed, I don't know, I'm thinking the reason people are using them at the pavilions is because they're sitting there, whether they're
there.
full or not, so if there's a reason why there needs to be cans down there, which may just be camp, I don't know, it just seems like the location of them, I know now they are scattered all over the place, but if there's no convenient trash cans and there's a sign saying you need to take out your garbage from a party, I don't know, I feel like people are more likely to do it, certainly with the fine, but I just think that could get really messy because just because you really don't know who's responsible for the garbage, and we can't have someone policing that the whole time. So I think that would cause a lot of problems and like ill will, just negativity. But if we have the reminder and just the cans aren't right by the pavilions, like, why can't the cans be by the bathroom? I mean, there might be a valid reason why parents need them by the bathroom or something like that, instead of making it so accessible.
It's true.
You know, not fully bring it in, bring it out, but just not as easy to.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope people would less likely, I know there are those that will, but drop their they don't see a garbage can. It's less likely that someone's going to drop their garbage on the ground versus, to me, if there's a can there, going to put it in a can. I think we're all environmentally, I think we've advanced ourselves to know that you just don't throw your trash on the ground. I would hope.
But I think some people would, like, I think Rick said that people left bags outside the can. I think people will still do that, even if you know that's a bad idea, that critters will get in there and all of that.
Yeah.
It's can, and people will stick stuff in bags, hopefully, but like on the outside, and then it becomes a mess. So I agree with you that people aren't gonna just drop their garbage, but cans encourage.
Rick, why don't we start with the form? Somehow whether it be separating the words somewhere, make it in bold, highlight it. And then
It is
also-
bold. It
Okay.
isn't, yeah.
Okay,
And then I think you should continue with your original thought, Rick, is that you charge them a deposit. They get the deposit back when the place is determined to be clean.
Yep.
I just want to ask a little sidebar question. Did you change the number of barrels that you had at Bittner Park this year? Do you have, because it seems to, from my observation, there are fewer barrels at Bittner Park, and I have to say the park looks cleaner than it ever has before, simply because of the fact that even what I witnessed with Little League and with the men's adult league is that people were not leaving trash behind. They were literally taking it out away from the ball fields and back towards the parking lot. So if that's, again, a change of behavior there, it worked. But I don't know if you consciously did that or Anthony consciously made the decision to have fewer trash barrels at Bittner.
Yeah, John, I can't tell off the top of my head how many are there, and I can't remember if we've got them at all the fields or just, in the parking area. Is there one by the backstop still at?
No, everything, the one by the back, everything was moved out towards the parking lot.
Parking lot,
And-
yeah. So people are
And in
taking.
all seriousness, I have to give the men credit. The men clean up after themselves and they take their stuff out, which is very unusual for men's softball players.
I think what you said though, John, I think it's a behavior, and it's like once you kind of just don't see the garbage cans there, you just tend to be like, okay, well then it just like at a gas station when you go to get gas. How many of you have taken? I have a trash can in my car because I'm OCD with that kind of stuff. How many times have you taken the garbage out of your trash can and dumped it in the trash can at the gas station? I don't do that anymore because it's like, that's my trash. They shouldn't have to be responsible for getting rid of my trash.
Right.
That's just how I think about it.
And I do something simple too. And I just tell the guys when they leave the field, take your stuff with them. And they say,
Right.
okay.
Right.
And they do. Okay.
If I could pipe in here, and I think
Sure.
on Tara's point, and obviously, this is going to take some discussion for future meeting, but again, the garbage cans are unsightly. You're walking to the beach. What's between you and the beautiful Jacobs
Mhm.
Beach garbage cans? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
I
So
agree.
to me, my suggestion would be which I think is the best suggestion, and I think Diane suggested it. Let's do like the state parks. Whatever you bring, you got to bring home, and that's not asking a lot. You bring your garbage in here, then you got to bring your garbage home. We shouldn't be responsible for getting rid of your garbage. So, but if we're not going to do that, what we should do is get rid of all those garbage cans and have one central location. And off the top of my head, it would be across from the pavilions. We would build an area there, like put a fenced-in area, and you couldn't see it from the road or something. Make it kind of discreet, where that'd be a central location for garbage. So if somebody's on the beach and if they don't want to bring their garbage home, they're going to have to make the effort to walk over by the pavilions in one central location that eliminates. And you got to go down there. It's just like it's unsightly. It's just like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be here.
So we would just
So
monitor
we either
it.
go with one.
We
We
would
either go
just
with one
monitor
central
it.
location for garbage, and then tough luck. If you can't walk 10 feet, then don't come to the beach.
And like
You know,
Tara said, make them maybe a little bit more inconvenient, not in the
Yeah,
very
we-
middle of the whole area, that it's just anybody walking by is gonna be like, sure, I'll throw that away. I mean, I've done that too. The garbage
Yeah,
can's
and
there,
I-
why not, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do is we should maybe discuss this real soon, is just garbage in, garbage out. You get rid of your own garbage.
I make a motion.
Something we could try. Listen to what you guys are saying. Here's something we could try. We got that storage container. I don't know how much room is in it because it's got all the camp stuff in there. But we could see if I can get my guys to empty it at the end of the day, Friday.
Hmm?
And I don't know how bad it's, but have them put them in that storage container so they're out of sight. You know what I mean? That the way they're not having to haul them out of there, bring a dump truck and spend, a lot of time, or just put the ones that are by the pavilion, hide them, basically, put them inside that storage bin if there's room in there. Again, the place might really stink on Monday morning when the counselors go to, that way they're still there and the staff can pull them out Monday morning so they have them for
Mhm.
camp.
I'd like to just see what happens, quite
We
honestly.
could try that, Ellen may,
Rick,
Karen may want to have a pushback on this. They may say, no, they're gonna be flies and worms and they may not like that idea, but we could
Rick, I'm
try
not-
it, I guess, and see what happens.
Well, Rick, the other thing, just to give you a comparison, over at the Surf Club in Madison, they have one central dumpster. It's a small dumpster. I don't know what the yardage is, 2 yards, 3 yards, and that's it. They don't have garbage cans anywhere else
Mhm.
along the picnic area. So if you're going to take something home, or if you're not going to take something, at least they have one central location rather than a multitude of scattered bins along the Surf Club beach area. They do have barrels at the sports fields. Okay, and they do have the regular trash and a recyclable one as well. But they tend to do like you're asking, is that they make it a central location. Don't give them an opportunity to spread it out all over the entire geography of the park.
That's a good point, John. And I think early on when we were designing the park down there was some talk about a dumpster with like a fence around it or something, so you don't see it. But I think I feel like that didn't get approved. I don't know, again, if that was one of the things that when we had public hearings, people didn't want a dumpster there. Or again, now we're putting something up with walls around it. It's another thing that blocks view of,
Mhm.
They just put a stockade fence around it.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Somehow I know we had the conversation about that, and it didn't happen. So I think there's distance to it. But not a bad idea. I mean, one dumpster versus 18 or 12 trash barrels or whatever.
Yep.
But again, we still would, by law, we have to have recycle barrels down there. Even if
Hey,
people don't use.
Rick,
The only thing you have to watch is that the dumpsters down at the Surf Club do have a tendency to bring in the skunks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick,
And
I'm not clear about,
It's a fee for us because we'd have to hire a company to empty it. Right now, we do it.
hey,
Mhm.
Rick, I'm not clear about why you're suggesting that they put the garbage cans in the storage container. What's the reason for that?
To get rid of them. So there wouldn't be any at the picnic pavilion.
No,
The people
that,
have to bring their garbage out.
we
Oh,
need the
okay.
garbage for camp. They
We
need
need
to have
to-
bins for camp.
Just to
during
take
the
them
week.
away on the weekends to see
Yeah.
what happened, what the result would be.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rick, for next meeting, can you put that on the agenda that we just discuss the garbage at our parks?
It's kind of, Rick, when we discussed about the garbage cans around the green, around the green, and I think that has kind of, that the locations of those garbage cans has moved. It's not a problem. It really isn't a problem. You know how some of the store owners were saying that the garbage cans were getting overfilled and weren't being, and
We took them off the sidewalks.
yeah, so I see a huge difference there.
Hey,
Again, it's a behavior change, you don't even realize you're doing it. You don't even realize you're using garbage cans the way we are, quite honestly.
But with that, we added the solar power one, the
Yes.
trash collector on the corner by Pages there.
Yes.
Shows there that corner.
But the sidewalks look so
Some
much
people want
better
to get
now.
more of those for the green, but those things are $6,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no.
yeah.
And again, if you know, less trash removal, I don't know, as a taxpayer, I just think to myself, we're trying to help save some money that we have to be emptying these trash barrels how many times? It's a money saver. So let's all pitch in to help that cost.
All right, Rick, so do we have a plan for the garbage cans at the pavilions now? And then next month, we will further discussion on trash, I guess, across all of our parks, really, not just the pavilions, but
I agree.
I mean, it's a discussion that we keep having over and over again. We had it when we decided to get our own garbage trucks. It's obviously a conversation we need to continue to have. If we are going to change our pavilion policy, we do need to make sure that it's very clear on our website when people are booking, and even at the site, reminder that you are taking your garbage with you.
So Claire, just so does everybody agree? I don't think you have to vote on this, but do you agree for now? Let me see if I can try to manage it by taking the barrels out of there and put them, if I can fit them in the storage container, just remove them from the pavilion. Shauna is already reminding people that they have to take their garbage out, but now we'll make it even clearer. There are no barrels there. No barrels in the pavilion. I think we guys still keep some in the park, like people might have a lemonade, the lemonade guys, or somebody has a cup, or whatever of lemonade, or the hot dog guy is there, then we gotta have some trash barrels. But the biggest problem is the pavilions. It's not a problem, the ones that are kind of near the beach, those don't fill up or overflow. It's the ones that are probably the pavilion, because there's just so many people. And it's really, it's a good problem they have. People are coming back, right? And they're, like we're saying with everything, with the concerts and the seniors coming to lunch, and people using those picnic pavilions like crazy. And but they're generating a lot of garbage.
Right.
So if you all agree, for now, we'll try to put them in that storage container and see if we, I don't know how many can fit in there, but we'll fit what we can. And then we'll re-emphasize, if you're having a picnic, you got to take their garbage out of there. So for now, we won't talk about a fee deposit, because that's something we're midstream. I think if we're going to do it, we got to kind of start out fresh with it at some point. But let's see how we do.
And again, if somebody comes back and calls and says, rents the pavilion, and it says, oh my gosh, we had nowhere to put our garbage. Well, A, you signed the agreement, it was in there, and B, you were verbally reminded. So there should be no problem.
And then to John's point, I don't know if I can have my lifeguards do this, but they could go over and check what it looks like at the end of a picnic. And if people have left their trash bags there on the ground, okay, which group was it? Then we can go back and, well, at that point, they don't have a deposit, but we can.
I think just to monitor it for right now and see, just kind of see, it's kind of a test, see where it goes.
Try it out. Yeah, I believe the town of Clinton, I think they removed their trash barrels from their beaches, and they signed, like we're talking about, they require a deposit. And I can find out from them, well, how do you manage that though? If you got 5 or 6 different picnics, how do you know which one left it? Do their guards do it? So we can figure a way to manage that if that's where we go.
I think that's the way to start. I mean, we got to start somewhere. So, was there any other new business? I know we discussed the Lake Quannapoga erosion already. You had wanted to talk about that. Was there anything else that you needed to add to the agenda?
I just two quick points.
Actually, I did have something I wanted that came up at the department head meeting this morning. Marijuana is now, people can smoke it. And at the department head meeting, they were talking, Matt was talking about creating an ordinance that doesn't allow smoking on the green of anything, cigarettes, pot, or anything. Because we just, what's going to happen with our concerts, especially when we have the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, that was
yeah. But I suggest that the department head need to Matt, and actually I saw Pete Barrett, our town attorney, later on in the day, and I said, you got to make this at all parks, not just the green. I mean, can you imagine if there's a soccer game going and people are sitting in the bleachers with kids around and they're smoking pot? How could we possibly allow that?
But are there not already they're already regular, like smoking ordinance, right?
Right.
Like,
I
or no?
think,
The
I
ordinance-
think the
ordinance
marijuana
is-
use, from what I heard, has to be, it's the same smoking ordinance that is used, that's in place now for cigarette smoking. I believe
Right.
it's following the same.
You're 100% correct. That is
That's
correct.
what I thought as well.
Yes.
Pete looked into this. The ordinance only says beaches, which we did that like 20 years ago. But I was sure that that there was a committee that it was, I don't think it was even Parks and Rec. There was, it came out of Youth Services, a committee that was what the current day committee is, Developmental Assets for Youth. The
Mhm.
precursor to that was another group, which I was on, and they pushed for not allowing smoking in the parks and at athletic fields. And I thought it was an ordinance, but Pete Barrett said there's no ordinance says you can't smoke in other places, it just says the beaches. So anyway, when they were talking about the green, I said, I think you got to look everywhere. Unless you guys disagree, I don't think we want people.
No,
smoking.
you do have to look
pot
everywhere.
at-
I
at
was
a
down
stop-
at Chatfinch the other day.
Yeah.
I was not pleased
Yeah.
what I was smelling.
I personally think it's
Just
a
a
very
personal
bad.
thing for me. It's like, keep that somewhere else, but, yeah, it was annoying
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be there.
So I think they got to make the ordinance as all parks and recreation facilities, including athletic fields, unless you all disagree with that. But I
Don't disagree.
that's the way we should go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure the town council is just gonna make an ordinance that you can't smoke on any town property. It's simple as that, right?
I'm actually
Well, that's what they want to do,
surprised
but they were
still that
talking
there
about
isn't
the-
one.
I know, I am too.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
Right.
But you're correct that it will come up now because of this recent
Yeah.
change, whereas everyone.
But
you know,
even though it's not a town ordinance, isn't it a state ordinance?
I don't think so.
Because like I said, I thought I had heard, and I think John just said, yes, he heard this, like this, the smoking ordinance, no matter what you're smoking in the state of Connecticut, are the same rules to follow as cigarette smoking. That's what I thought they were following.
But I think I heard something on NPR about this, I think, as well, but I didn't think it meant because there was a statewide ordinance. I thought it meant that smoking marijuana would fall under whatever smoking ordinance you have in your town already, is how
Okay.
you know.
That's one thing they talked about is the cigarette law was that you have to be at least 10 feet away from a ventilated building or window. But with marijuana, it's 25 feet. So there already is a difference with that. But I just think we don't want to allow it in the parks. I think we should just make it, law. You can't have it. You can't drink in the parks. There's no
No,
alcohol.
right, so what's right?
Why would we allow another?
Yeah, there's another enforceable
Yeah.
law.
Right, John, you're right.
John, did you have some comments you wanted to make?
Yeah, I just have two quickies. Number one, Rick, what is the progress of the Kavanaugh Field being replaced? Up at the high school?
All ripped up. The track's ripped up. There are job meetings every Wednesday that I go to. There's another one this Wednesday at 9. Yeah, it's ripped up. I think the new carpet is ordered. Mostly what we've been talking about is fencing and where the fencing is going. We're on site kind of looking at, those kinds of things. But the progress, I think, is pretty good.
What is the availability for the field come this fall? Will we be able to have sports on it?
I think the substantial completion is, I believe, I don't have the exact date, but I think it's mid-October. So the athletic director knows you're not going to be able to play on that field beginning of the season.
Okay. The other thing is that one of the problems that I had at Jacob's speech on Saturday is that I don't know if you call them anything else, but we call them dive bombers. These green-headed flies that come out of the swamp. They're awful. But I did find through my daughter a University of Massachusetts project where they actually put up fly traps in the swampy areas that are around the parks. Would you be interested in getting that information and possibly doing one of those near Jacob's Beach?
Yeah, those things are nasty. We had it sprayed. Oh boy, I'm gonna say about a week ago for mosquitoes and ticks, and that's supposed to last for a number of weeks. In fact, I think it was in the bills with all habitats, like maybe $1,100 or something like that. But that's what that was. They sprayed for mosquitoes and ticks all around the perimeter there.
Yeah, the your lifeguard said that they don't have, I asked them what type of DEET product that they use. They said they don't, they just kill them, and they try to see who has the most at the end of every day. So kind of gallows humor, but it keeps them occupied. But those things
Oh my gosh.
they are incredibly,
They're nasty. Yeah.
they're nasty.
Yeah.
They
And
hurt, they bite.
if we could find a way to take that nastiness away from the beach, it would make it a little bit more pleasant.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let me know, John. We can look into that.
Okay, and the one last question, do we still have the sand cleaner to clean the beach at Jacobs that we shared with Madison?
Well, no, we own it. It's ours. Yeah.
Okay, how frequently do we clean the beach at Jacobs then?
Generally every Friday, but we cannot do, well, this week we can start again from May 10th to July 15th. We cannot go below the high tide line because of horseshoe crabs. They lay their eggs in there, and by state law, we can't go below that high tide line. So when we do it, we do the kind of more lifeguard chairs and up, we can't go below the high tide line, which is where it needs it the most. That's where all the shells and seaweed and everything are. But this week we can start doing it again after July 15th.
Okay, it started to look like Jacobs Beach of old with a lot of shells on it. I know that the storms have washed ashore a great deal of number of shells, and I just didn't know what was our policy towards cleaning those up.
Oh, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned. I forgot to mention the governor was there last Tuesday signing.
Yes, he was.
And so I had the guys. I found that was, let's see, the day after July 5th was a town holiday, so it was that Tuesday. So I got an email from Matt, I think Saturday, saying that the governor was going to be there. So I got Tony and the crew down there first thing Tuesday morning. Pretty much the entire crew was there. They groomed the beach, groomed everything we could except below the high tide line. They swept the boardwalk. They were mowing. The place looked absolutely stunning. It looked absolutely beautiful. And the head of DEP was there, and they were commenting how beautiful the beach was.
That's great.
Camp was there with 100 and something kids, and the governor commented on that this is wonderful. We got this beautiful day at this beach. We got kids here in their camp, and it was probably a pretty big honor. A lot of dignitaries were there. The governor and his entourage, and DEP head, and others that were.
He even had Nate's lemonade, and loved it.
Did he have one?
Yeah, there's a picture of him and Nate. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
It was good, and it was on the news. All the news channels were there, and people saw it. It didn't say Jacobs Beach, but it said a beach in Guilford. So we got some great visibility.
Yeah, Rick, I can vouch for that because I showed up to go kayaking when Tony's crew was there, and I went kayaking for whatever. And when I got back, they had already left, and the place looked like $1 million.
It was gorgeous. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So thank Tony and his crew.
Yeah,
good show. That's it for me.
All right, well, if that's it, then can we get a motion to adjourn at 8:44?
Motion to adjourn.
Claire, are you sitting in the dark on the field?
I know I'm trying to console a very sad child that I was not cheering for his game and that they lost, and now they are not in the championship. So my son no longer likes the Park and Rec right now.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
But thanks everyone, and hopefully next month we will be in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I gotta hit end.
John, you've got a huge heart.
Thank you.
You do. I'm just too much of an empath. That's what my problem is. If that's a problem, I don't know.
Sometimes I